Having started a building design right from the very beginning stages in Revit, we can keep on elaborating the building throughout the design process. And using sMARTreview APR, we can keep it in code compliance as we go. At this conceptual design stage, the next kind of step, having got the building size, location, and construction type right, we work on an arrangement of rooms for proper egress. So recalling our hotel scenario is a 4-story hotel, low-cost construction, about 70 rooms, 44,000 square feet gross building area, or 11,000 square feet per floor. The issues in laying out the spaces are largely matters of egress. So we have to designate room types and calculate egress paths. We have to exclude elevators and elevator doors. Second step, we focus on the rooms and the occupant loads. So we designate function of space and calculate occupant loads. And then the third step is we deal with fire ratings based on construction type, window arrangements based on fire separation distance, and then we have a fairly complete schematic design. So here is the hotel after working on it some and adding rooms and other elements. And I can go to a floor plan and we can see the basic kind of layout. We've got an entrance lobby, we've got standard rooms, we've got some deluxe rooms on the corners, we've got 2 stair towers, we've got some closets, we've got a lounge and for a breakfast room and a kitchen. The upper floors are pretty similar, just a very standard low-cost hotel. And I like to look at it in these 3D transparent views because then I can see everything and I can filter them and label them better. So basically I've drawn this and I've got a basic kind of building. I'm just going to run the APR software. It's going to take a little bit longer this time because there's a lot more walls, a lot more rooms and calculations that have to be done. So it's actually doing path calculations to find exit access travel paths, but it goes pretty quickly. So we'll see that I've got frontage set here, which gives me an area increase, and I've got fire separation distances. I can recalculate them, but they're already calculated. Okay. I can check my building concept, type 5A, sprinkler type 13R, occupancy, all that's set. The heights are set, the stories are set. I've got 2 levels of discharge, a kind of basement story at the bottom of the fire stairs and the main level, entrance level. Now, in areas, I've got several areas set, and areas control area separation groups. So I can group, I can draw multiple areas in Revit and then group them with an area separation group, and then Revit will decide whether it can be accessory area or not. So in this case, the dining room here works okay as an accessory area. In some cases, I would have to separate that into a different group to get compliance. I'm going to slide down here to the construction types, and you see the construction types have various fire ratings. I've got a interior wall that's a 1 hour, 2 interior walls that are 1 hour ratings, basically around that dining room. And in egress, I want to really focus on egress. Egress, I have occupant loads here, and I'm going to pull this out wider because it shows a little bit more. So we see our function of space here, and most of these rooms have been classified as a residential function of space. The building code lists a wide variety of function of space. This is a hotel. Residential is the right one, and with that it uses a factor to multiply by the area to get a occupant load. So you see it's calculated all of the occupant loads for all of the rooms on all of the stories. One different one is this lounge, which is assembly without fixed seats. I could also override that one entirely. So let's say it's really going to be 12 feet or 12 occupants, and I just put that in, and that's my new occupant load. Now, for doorways, we can see that the software has broken the doorways out by stories. So I've got a lot of doors, but it has figured out what the purpose of those doors are. So these two doors on the basement level are at the bottom of the fire stairs, and they're exit discharge doorways. And these other ones are egress doors, and we see that there are also some exit discharge doors from the lobby and from the corridors on the first floor. And on the second floor, where they're all egress doors, we've got an exit enclosure doorway into the fire stairs. And the software has figured out and classified all of these for me. I can actually pick on one and click Show Me, and I will see it in Revit. I'm not going to do that right now, though. Now, for paths, I can go here and I can calculate the paths. And it will take a few minutes, but it's calculating the path from the farthest point of every room to the egress door for that room. And then it follows that path all the way to an exit discharge doorway. And it also calculates the common path of travel distance. So the common path of travel distance is the distance from a room or a space that you would have to go until you get to two different alternative exit discharge doorways. Now, it's found in the crawl space. There's no door. Now, I could probably exclude those rooms, and I may try doing that in a minute. The stairways are also shown as interior exit stairways, and you see there's one that goes up to the mechanical room labeled as a penthouse top story. So the software understands what a penthouse is and understands that it should be counted as part of the story 4 in the calculations. Now, let's see, there's a couple of other things to look at. In rooms, I can specify the type of room, so exit enclosures, rooms. You'll see that each room could be, these 5 types are mentioned in the building code, and they have different provisions associated with them. They can also have a special use, and these are a kind of odd hodgepodge of rooms that have high hazard or high importance. Boiler rooms, incinerator rooms, furnace rooms, daycares, vehicular ramps. It's just an odd little collection. And I can also set a flame spread classification for the finishes on the various rooms. Now, having made those settings, I can once again run an APR analysis, and it's going to take a little bit longer this time because we've got a much more complicated building. But it bundles all the information up and sends it off to the cloud, where we run it against our rules that are based on the IBC, and it's finished for me. So here I see Chapter 5 doesn't have any problems at all, so I'm just going to close it down. Chapter 6 has some problems. There's types of construction here. I scroll down and I find in this table that this exterior non-bearing wall is very close to the property line, so that's causing a problem. It needs to have a fire rating of 1 hour. And if we scroll through this, we find that that's true in some other places as well. So I could fix all those, but I'm not going to fix them right now. Let's keep looking at some problems. Here's an allowable area of openings. So it has identified that this wall, once again, it's very close to the property line, and it has openings in it, and openings are not permitted in a wall that's that close to the property line. So that's going to be a problem for us. There's some interior finish problems. So if we scroll down through here, we see that the fire stair failed because it requires a B flame spread classification. So that's another thing to fix. And there's some problems with egress paths. So these crawl spaces, yes, we know the crawl space doesn't have an exit. Maybe that's the only problem, though. I don't see any other problems. So I may put a door in the crawl space, or maybe I can exclude the crawl space. They're egress based on occupant loads, so there's some problems here. So again, on that sub-basement level, and we'll have to fix that too. And again, the crawl spaces are causing a lot of problems. However, and there's a dead end problem. And the dead end corridor is 31 feet long, so that's going to be a problem. So it's found quite a few problems with the design so far. And I can also look at these in terms of architecture. So I just look at a roof, fire rating of 1 hour, and it needs to have a fire rating of 1 hour. Both of the roofs do. These walls, there's some problem with a wall here, and I see which provisions of the building code have been checked. And one provision has failed. And there's another wall. So there's a handful of walls that have problems. And there's some floors. The floors, I believe they also need a 1 hour fire rating, so we'd have to fix them. And various rooms, like I said, the fire stairs needed a different flame spread classification. So, I could go back and make some of these changes. I'm going to do the fire stairs first. One way to do them would be to go to the an area plan, and maybe I can click this one, and I could change the fire separation right here. So interior finish classification, and change it to a different value. That one doesn't have a problem. So let's try this one. Yeah, so that one's a C, and it needs to be a B. So that's better. But I could also go to a schedule and look at my room schedules and check the flame spread classifications for the rooms. So these have been sorted. We have our fire stairs here. So those all have to be changed to B. So changing them in a and a schedule is a pretty fast and easy way to do it. And I've got these two that I can probably just delete. So I'll delete those rows. Now, what else did we have? We had some roof problems too. So some APR issues for the roof. We see that the two roofs failed, and it tells me which provision of the code caused the failure. I remember it was the fire rating. So let's go to a 3D view, and we can see all these fire ratings. As I recall, these exterior walls needed a different fire rating too. So I'm going to change them to a exterior 8-inch 1 hour. And my visualization changes too. A little bit hard to select. One hour, and change this one. So that should solve that problem. And I've got a roof up here, and I need to change that roof to be, well, that one's already a 1 hour. I better check the type here. I may have it set wrong. Yep, I have it set wrong. So I'm going to set the type value to be 1 hour. And that's probably going to fix it over here too. So I've got the top of the penthouse here, and just to make sure it's set right, yes, it's 1 hour. It's good. So I've set a bunch of made a bunch of changes, and I don't remember what else to do. So I'll just run the APR again. And it's looking at all the walls. And come back to this view and do the analysis again. And we should have eliminated some of the errors. I still have those crawl spaces to deal with, so I may do them next. So it's doing the common path calculations. Almost done here. So when it says APR analysis ongoing, it's on the server. So I've still got a problem with general construction. There's non-bearing walls 19 feet from the property line. Those are actually crawl space walls too, I believe. And allowable area of openings, that's still a problem that we're only 33 or 4 inches from the property line, so it's a problem. And we've got various other kinds of problems. But you can kind of see the process with the APRs just to kind of work through the issues until we get everything into compliance. Now this is a kind of powerful view here that shows non-compliance. So it shows which aspects of the building are out of compliance. So these floors are have a problem. And again, that may be a problem with the definition here. Yeah, so let's change the type to 1 hour. And it won't update here, but you see these end walls have now been fixed. They're no longer red, and they work okay now. All of these doors are a problem. So these are the doors in the closets, and my code expert says that they have to be 36 inches wide for proper egress. So I'm not going to change them right now, but you get the feeling of how the APR works to bring the building into compliance.